calling today for the resignation of everyone involved in the reporting, writing, editing, and publication of the Times' debunked and shamefully inadequate reporting on systematic sexual violence.
Their front page cover story, screamed without words, is a totally botched investigation which claims systematic sexual assault on October 7th was carried out by Hamas. No one is denying that rape is used as a weapon of war. The problem is there's typically evidence of mass sexual assault. No such forensic evidence was found. Most testimony was corroborated by the IDF, or worse, Zaka, an openly Zionist rescue project. Family members of the deceased, including Gal Abdoush's family, the woman in the black dress, have come out to say that the Times misled them and that the media, quote, made up the story. Woo!
Let's go.
All right. And they've come out and said the Times, quote unquote, made up the story. That's ridiculous. Anat Schwartz was busted by somebody with a squirrel avatar on Twitter. She liked a tweet that called for turning Gaza into a slaughterhouse. This should give us pause as writers, and if you are a reader of the paper of record. The editorial failures are many. Why does Phil Pan stand by the story when the writers are laughably inexperienced? When they are hugely, publicly biased. This investigation, this front page investigation, was the very first piece that Anat ever wrote. That's mind-blowing. Adam Stella was a food writer before this. Jeffrey Gettleman, who somehow has a Pulitzer, has claimed that he's not in the business of, quote, reporting evidence. So why are they able to get away with this? What was the editorial chain of command? We know that the buck stops with Joseph Kahn. And we are saying your name, we are calling your name. Hear us.
Today, the Israeli occupation fired on a crowd of starving people, murdering over 100 of them in cold blood. Since October, the New York Times has perpetuated this framing of the Israel-Hamas war, and many have adopted it. But the people being killed in Gaza are our families. They are the Palestinian people, and Israel's so-called war is a genocide. The New York Times are at once stenographers for the IDF, but they're all too happy as well to look away when Israeli leaders explicitly lay out their genocidal intent. The vast majority of writers within the New York Times are nothing more than favor warriors. Their so-called sources are people within military and intelligence agencies who reward them with leaked information. They call it reporting. We know they are just regurgitating military misinformation with a highbrow aesthetic for their readers. The New York Times likes to shrug off criticism of their coverage and say, we're getting flack from both sides, so we must be doing our jobs right. Except in this case, one side is perpetuating a genocide, and the other side is simply asking you to publish factual information as they experience a genocide. Recently, we saw the New York Times publish IDF propaganda and then retract it. Here's a question. When do they retract or apologize or walk back on their reporting? When do they publish anything actually adversarial to power? The answer is only once it is too late. Only once the damage has been done. Yep. Only once 30,000 Gazans are dead, in no small part because of the consent they manufactured by painting Palestinians as rapists and terrorists. The fact of the matter is, the only thing Anat Schwartz will say now that she's been canned is mission accomplished.
The removal of everyone from Anat Schwartz, Adam Stella, Jeffrey Gettleman, all the way up to Joseph Kahn, the executive editor of the Times, and passing through Philip Hahn, the international desk editor, and Suzanne Spector, the editor who we are naming here publicly for the first time, who is personally responsible on the international desk for seeing that story through to publication. Their resignations must take place, and they must take place now, but they will not be sufficient. these failures are merely the most visible symptoms of an institution that is sick, that is rotten to its core. They must go, but the Times itself must go. That is why we are calling on all of us as writers, as readers, as people of conscience to boycott, divest, and unsubscribe from the Times. To the Times reporters, quit your jobs, leak us information, do whatever you can to take down this institution. Why are we talking about the Times? Are they really the worst offenders? Don't more people read USA Today and the Wall Street Journal? Isn't Fox News more right-wing? These are the sorts of questions you might ask. These are certainly the sorts of questions that we have been asked. The Times' aura of well-meaning progressivism allows it to pass off the most flagrant depravities as complexities, to turn atrocities into tough choices, and to launder genocide as the best of bad options. 4 months and 30,000 martyrs later, it continues to present Zionism as a noble, if sometimes flawed project, as opposed to the barbarism that it always has been, but which is now clearer than ever before.
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!